Hello, back again on the Top Recap channel. This time I will tell a Korean drama entitled Mask Girl full episode. Let's get straight into the storyline. The story begins by showing a beautiful little girl named Kim Mo-mi on stage, where all the audience praised her.
무대 위에서 춤을 추는 게
This made Kim Mo-mi even more motivated to become a superstar. But it was just wishful thinking, because Mo-mi's face was inversely proportional to her talent as she got older. Even her mother told Mo-mi to give up, but Mo-mi did not want to give up, and continued to participate in the school's performance events. Even in high school, Mo-mi's face worsened, making Mo-mi unable to perform in art performances. Finally, in 2009, Mo-mi lived as an ordinary office woman.
살게 됐다.
But one night, Mo-mi saw an artist performance on television, and Mo-mi seemed to find her dream again. Since that night, she has been using a social media platform to perform live shows of her singing and dancing talents under the stage name Mask Girl. Mo-mi's good skills and beautiful body made her quickly gain loyal fans.
난 마스크걸이다.
Mo-mi seems to live a double life. Every morning she works and is underestimated by her office partners, who often show favoritism to employees who only see from the face. Mo-mi's best friend, Yoo Sang-soon, also gets unfair treatment. She considered all the men in her office to be perverts who had sexually harassed the female employees. Sang-soon and Mo-mi often discuss their friend A. Reum, who is too coquettish with the men in her office.
커피 드세요.
땡큐.
아, 그냥 비슷한 건데요, 뭘.
Here we will see Mo-mi's boss, Park Gi-hun. Park Gi-hun's perfect charm can make Mo-mi fall in love with him. Moreover, Park Gi-hun is always fair to his employees. If an employee makes a mistake, Park Gi-hun does not hesitate to scold him. But unfortunately, Park Gi-hun is married and has a wife. That makes Mo-mi only harbor this feeling and watching Park Gi-hun from his desk. In the evening, Mo-mi became a sexy livestream artist with many loyal fans. With her face mask, she tries to get attention from her fans.
여러분, 사연이요.
The next day, during a dinner together, Mo-mi was again amazed by Park Gi-hun's attitude, who refused when A. Reum offered to pour him a drink. Besides that, one of Mo-mi's superiors discussed the charm of Mask Girl, now a favorite on a social media platform. Mo-mi was very surprised because there was an office friend who became her fan.
들었던 것 같아서.
Then, when returning home, Park Gi-hun and Mo-mi shared the same taxi, because they had the same destination direction. Park Gi-hun, who then got a call from his wife, was forced to lie by saying he was alone. It made Mo-mi blush. And when Mo-mi did live as usual, she told her fans about her experience. Mo-mi was confused as to why her boss lied to his wife, saying he was alone when he was with Mo-mi. From some fan comments, one account called to be handsome asked Mask Girl to forget her boss because he really loved Mask Girl. The next day at the office, Sang-soon felt that Park Gi-hun was narcissistic on social media. But for Mo-mi, it's precisely what makes her adore Park Gi-hun even more. Mo-mi was very happy when she saw Park Gi-hun scold A. Reum in front of other employees.
공과사가 분명하시잖아.
Then, before going home, Mo-mi cheered A. Reum not to be discouraged by Park Gi-hun's scolding. When Mo-mi is about to take the train home, she suddenly remembers leaving her train card on her desk, and she went back to the office to get it. But instead, she saw Park Gi-hun, who quietly returned to the office just to meet A. Reum. Mo-mi, who saw it, was immediately crushed to know the forbidden relationship between Park Gi-hun and A. Reum, because she had had very big feelings for Park Gi-hun all this time. That night, she vented her heartbreak by drinking a lot of soju. In a drunken state, Mo-mi unconsciously live streams while taking off all her clothes, which makes Mask Girl's account have to be blocked. In the morning, Mo-mi was surprised to learn about her silly behavior last night.
죽어, 난 죽어야 돼.
Then at the office, Mo-mi, still upset with A. Reum, finally chose to tell her friends about the affair between Park Gi-hun and A. Reum. Although at that time Mo-mi asked her friends not to tell anyone, the news was quickly known by all employees.
와, 소름.
난 왠지 그럴 것 같았어.
박 팀장이 개새끼.
When she came home from work, Mo-mi looked sad to see Park Gi-hun, who was drunk and tried to commit suicide. Then Momi drove Park Gi-hun home, but because she didn't know Park Gi-hun's address, Momi took Park Gi-hun to a motel. When he woke up the next day, Park Gi-hun immediately left without saying goodbye to Momi, who was still asleep. Then, when she arrived at the office, Momi was sad after hearing that Park Gi-hun had resigned. Park Gi-hun chose to resign from the company after their leader called Park Gi-hun an Arium. Momi felt guilty about Park Gi-hun because she didn't want Park Gi-hun to leave the company. Then Momi herself was shocked by an unknown email that had found out that Momi was a mask girl. Momi started to get nervous after knowing that someone knew her secret identity. Upon arriving home, Momi was slightly comforted by her loyal fans, who still actively supported her. It turns out that one of Mask Girl's fans who used the account used to be Handsome is Momi's office colleague, who has known for several days that Momi is a Mask Girl. The employee is Ju Oh-nam. He has been an introvert since childhood. Ju Oh-nam has trauma because his friends often bullied him as a child. He felt sad because of his fat physique, so he often became an easy bully figure. Ju Oh-nam himself grew up as a loner. He was always silent whenever his mother asked him about what he was going through at school. Ju Oh-nam's mother was a single mother who was always proud of her very kind and quiet son. His mother had a dream that Ju Oh-nam could become a doctor when he grew up. Ju Oh-nam was a smart boy, but he didn't make it into medical school. However, Ju Oh-nam graduated with good grades, so he could get a job easily. As an adult, Ju Oh-nam is still a quiet and loner. He seeks happiness by spending time with his sexual fantasies that are a collection in his house. Ju Oh-nam's fear is looking at the other person's eyes, so Ju Oh-nam chooses to look at the hands when talking to others. One day, when he saw Momi's hand at the office, he was surprised because Momi's hand had the exact same birthmark and nail polish color as his idol Mask Girl.
위치와 크기도 똑같았다.
Since then, Ju Oh-nam has started to admire Momi as a masked girl during live broadcasts, and Momi, a co-worker sitting beside him. Ju Oh-nam also easily knows that Momi secretly has feelings for their boss. But when Ju Oh-nam had time alone with Momi, he was very afraid and chose not to reveal his true feelings to Momi. And on the night when he saw Momi catch the affair between Park Gi-hun and Arium, Ju Oh-nam was also in the room. Unlike Momi, who was heartbroken, Ju Oh-nam was very happy because Momi finally realized that Park Gi-hun was a jerk who didn't deserve Momi. But the next day, Ju Oh-nam was very sad to see Momi bring a drunk Park Gi-hun to spend the night at the hotel. Ju Oh-nam felt hurt, and the next morning he emailed Momi that he already knew that Momi was a mask girl. That night, Momi appeared in a chat with several loyal fans. Momi told about her sadness that made her want to just leave. All the fans, including Ju Oh-nam, certainly gave Momi encouragement. Then, a fan with a Handsome Monk account invites Momi to meet. Ju Oh-nam seemed annoyed by this. Then, when she met Handsome Monk, Momi deliberately wore glasses and a black mask because she was trying to cover her true face.
이게 진짜 리얼한 것 같아요.
Until then, she encouraged herself to take off her mask. And unexpectedly, the Handsome Monk actually admired Momi's real face. Handsome Monk managed to make Momi feel comfortable without wearing her mask. But all that was just a pretense of the Handsome Monk, because he was betting with his friends and wanted to taste Momi's body. Meanwhile, Ju Oh-nam was very angry after reading some of the statuses of the Handsome Monk who wanted to enjoy Momi's body. Ju Oh-nam tried to save Momi from Handsome Monk, but Momi ignored Ju Oh-nam's call because she didn't feel close to Ju Oh-nam.
우리 그냥
On the other hand, when the Handsome Monk takes her to a motel and tries to humiliate her, Momi tries to fight the man. The man was very rude and insulted Momi's face. Finally, the fight between the two of them ensued. The fight accidentally made the man fall and hit the sink. Momi was very surprised and panicked to see the man's unconscious condition. Momi then read a message from Ju Oh-nam, who looked very worried about her. And a few moments later, Ju Oh-nam came after getting a call from Momi. Ju Oh-nam told Momi to leave the room immediately, and he would be responsible for all the bad things that happened that night.
제발 나가줘요.
After Momi left, the man was not dead and suddenly awake. But in a panic, Ju Oh-nam chose to kill the man. The next day, Momi suddenly decided to resign from the company. She didn't tell anyone, including Sang-sun. Ju Oh-nam became very sad and shocked by Momi's decision. Ju Oh-nam then asked the admin staff of his company for Momi's address. He said he would send Momi's old things after she stopped working. Ju Oh-nam went to Momi's place in the night, but Momi's apartment looked empty. Then when he got home, Juonam was surprised to see Mask Girl's account doing a live broadcast to say goodbye to all her loyal fans. Mask Girl then danced sexy and said goodbye to her fans. Juonam immediately ran to Momi's apartment and forced her to open the door. Momi then invited Juonam to enter her room. Momi told him that she couldn't live with the shadow of a murderer. Momi already knew that Juonam was her fan with the To Be Handsome account. Momi is very disappointed that Juonam has been spying on her and terrorizing her after knowing her secret identity. Momi feels that Juonam is a man who is not much different from other perverted men who always insult Momi's face and only want Momi's sexy body. Momi doesn't believe the sincerity of Juonam's feelings for her. She just laughed when Juonam confessed his love to her. Now Momi has decided to erase all of Momi's past, and she will become the new Momi. Juonam, disappointed with Momi's decision, pushed Momi down on the bed and immediately enjoyed Momi's body to express his love for Momi. But he was surprised to see Momi's face full of surgical bandages. Momi immediately turned around to ride Juonam's body and caught him off guard, so Momi immediately killed Juonam. In this third episode, the story will focus on Juonam's mother, Kim Kyung-ja. Kim Kyung-ja is a single mom divorced from her husband because he cheated on her. Her husband also never gave her any money during their 3 years of marriage. Kim Kyung-ja is a mother who cares deeply for her only son. She understands very well that her son grew up as a quiet person who always came home in a shabby state. However, Juonam never told his mother what really happened to him. Kim Kyung-ja worked very hard to accept any job to open the restaurant of his dreams and support her beloved son. Long story short, when Juonam graduated from college and got a job, Juonam asked to be allowed to live alone near his workplace. The mother wanted to reject it because she wanted to stay with Juonam. Since Juonam has been living independently, their relationship has been strained because every time his mother visits his house, Juonam always avoids her and says he is busy working. Then, after a few days, Juonam never picked up the phone from his mother again. Kim Kyung-ja began to worry about her son's condition, so she asked the police officers to help her get into Juonam's apartment. There, they found many oddities in Juonam's room. In addition to a pungent odor and a human-sized doll, they were shocked to find pieces of a human body in the refrigerator. Since then, the media has released the discovery of a dead body in Juonam's house. Kim Kyung-ja was relieved that the body parts were not Juonam's, but she refused to believe that Juonam was suspected of the mutilation. The two detectives working on the case tried to get information from Juonam's office. There, they get information that Juonam last asked for Momi's apartment address. The detectives immediately went to Momi's apartment to look for clues. They get information that Momi seems to have had plastic surgery before she moved out of the apartment. The detectives were convinced that Momi and Juonam might be on the run. Kim Kyung-ja does not want to believe that his lovely son is now accused of having sexual deviations and being a murderer. And she began to find out about Kim Mo-mi, who was allegedly her son's girlfriend. She asked the technician to open her son's computer, which was using Momi's photo as its wallpaper. She even earnestly learned to operate a computer in her old age so that she could find her son. She started by finding out who Kim Mo-mi was. She didn't give up hope and continued to learn new things to find her son. She even sold her restaurant and took all her savings to find her son. He then got acquainted online with the head of the Mask Girl fan community, who has the account name Bear. From this information, Kim Kyung-ja knew that Bear had found a woman with the same body and dancing ability as Mo-mi. However, Bear is unsure because the woman's breasts are fake while Mo-mi's are real, and there aren't many women with breasts like that in this country. That night, when Kim Kyung-ja missed her son so much, she had a nightmare. And the next day, the police found Juonam's mutilated body. Hurt by the death of her beloved son, and after discovering Juonam's body in a suitcase, Kim Kyung-ja suspects Mo-mi as the culprit who killed her son. Kim Kyung-ja then went to Mo-mi's biological mother's house. But Mo-mi's biological mother refused to admit Mo-mi as her daughter, and she had cut off the family relationship with Mo-mi long ago. However, Kim Kyung-ja continued to find out about the woman suspected to be similar to Momi. She started to find out where the woman worked, but it turned out that the woman was no longer working at the supermarket. Kim Kyung-ja finally found the woman's new workplace from her employment agency. Kim Kyung-ja began to observe the woman secretly. She even prepared a gun that she bought illegally for her revenge mission. Kim Kyung-ja deliberately applied as a taxi driver to continue her revenge plan. Then, at night, Kim Kyung-ja waited for the woman in front of her workplace. Without suspecting anything, the woman got into Kim Kyung-ja's taxi. Kim Kyung-ja tried to talk to the woman before she electrocuted her unconscious.
여기 있네. 여기 있어.
Kim Kyung-ja then took the woman to the middle of the forest. No matter how loudly she screamed, no one heard her. The woman then begged to be released and not killed, but Kim Kyung-ja, still filled with revenge, pointed his long-barreled rifle at the woman. Kim Kyung-ja asked her why she killed her son while showing a picture of Mask Girl. Kim Kyung-ja kept accusing the woman of being Mask Girl because she had the exact same star moon necklace as Mask Girl. After the woman saw the picture of Mask Girl, she burst out laughing because she knew the truth. She asked Kim Kyung-ja not to kill her because she will help Kim Kyung-ja find the real Mask Girl. Then the story will focus on Kim Chun-ai, the woman who was captured by Kim Kyung-ja. It turns out that what Kim Kyung-ja caught was not Mo-mi, but Chun-ai. When she was a teenager, Chun-ai was a new student who couldn't get along with her friends. She is considered strange because she likes Idol, who is different from other friends. But in that school, Chun-ai had her first love on her first day. A classmate named Choi Bu-young is busy preparing for his Idol debut. Choi Bu-young's handsome charm makes Chun-ai unable to resist and melt to Choi Bu-young, including when Choi Bu-young and his friends bought alcohol and cigarettes at a young age. And because Chun-ai happened to be the mini-market cashier, Choi Bu-young sweetly asked her to help him. Chun-ai and Choi Bu-young's closeness is increasingly intertwined, but Choi Bu-young only considers Chun-ai his walking savings. But because of the love that has already grown, Chun-ai could not refuse when Choi Bu-young asked for her help, until Chun-ai realized that Choi Bu-young was just using her. Choi Bu-young had just debuted as an idol, and he threw Chun-ai away. Chun-ai can only cry hearing Choi Bu-young and his friends' conversation about the girls that Choi Bu-young has been using as his walking savings. In a condition of anger, because she felt played by Choi Bu-young, Chun-ai finally got back at Choi Bu-young by revealing photos of Choi Bu-young's mischief when he was not yet an idol. And this got Choi Bu-young kicked out of his agency. Chun-ai is then determined to change her appearance to be beautiful, so that Choi Bu-young will regret it someday. Chun-ai used all her savings to change her face into a beautiful and charming one. She began to work very hard to make ends meet. One day she met Choi Bu-young again, but her desire for revenge vanished when she saw Choi Bu-young now homeless.
절 보는 시선이 확 달라졌음을 느꼈죠.
Stupidly, she even allowed Choi Bu-young to live in her house. Chun-ai was blinded by love, allowing the unemployed Choi Bu-young to live in her house. After Chun-ai started working at a club and became a prima donna there,
가게 에이스가 되었죠.
she began to meet Kim Mo-mi, who was introduced as a new singer. Mo-mi's arrival has made some of Chun-ai's customers move to Mo-mi. And this made Chun-ai start to jealous of her. Finally, the two of them were really involved in a fuss because they were fighting over customers.
사과를 해도
During the commotion, Momi's Moonstar necklace fell and was taken by Chun-ai. After hearing Chun-ai's story, Kim Kyung-ja believes Chun-ai and accepts her help to find Mo-mi.
지금 그녀는 있는 곳이 어딘지.
Kim Kyung-ja asked to be informed of any information about Mo-mi.
저녁부터 다녀보고 연락드릴게요. 꼬박꼬박 보고해.
After saying goodbye to Kim Kyung-ja, Chun-ai quietly went to a shabby apartment. Apparently it was Momi's residence. Mo-mi looked pale and tired at that time. Chun-ai was very worried about Momi's condition because she and Mo-mi were true friends. Their initial meeting at the nightclub was the beginning of their closeness. They looked like twin sisters in beauty and had a talent for dancing and singing. Chun-ai deliberately lied to Kim Kyung-ja with her made-up story because she wanted to protect Mo-mi from Kim Kyung-ja, who intended to kill her. Mo-mi has no one, and she doesn't dare to return to her house because Mo-mi's mother hates her so much, and she will definitely report her to the police. Chun-ai tried to help Mo-mi out of the problem. Unfortunately, a high school student secretly took pictures of Chun-ai, who left Mo-mi's place that day. Then when she got home, Chun-ae and Choi Bu-young argued because Chun-ae couldn't support Choi Bu-young's life anymore, and she asked Choi Bu-young to leave her house, but Choi Bu-young refused. And he even beat up Chun-ae because Choi Bu-young already knew that Chun-ae was the one who posted the news that ruined his career. And Choi Bu-young is now asking Chun-ae to take responsibility for his life. Choi Bu-young deliberately did not beat Chun-ae's face because she still had to continue working for him. In a different place, it turns out that the high school student who followed Chun-ae and Momi is the head of the Mask Girl fan club named Teddy. Momi was surprised when someone recognized her as a Mask Girl.
계속 따라오면 경찰에 신고한다.
Then, upon arriving home, Momi was worried when she saw Chun-ae's condition, and they both agreed to leave together. Unfortunately, when Chun-ae quietly went to get the money and items she needed, and took her pet dog away, Choi Bu-young suddenly woke up and immediately beat her mercilessly. Chun-ae, who was almost killed by Choi Bu-young then, was saved by Momi. The two chose to kill Choi Bu-young to protect their safety. They then put Choi Bu-young's body in a suitcase and left by driving a car somewhere. But all their actions were secretly observed by Kim Kyung-ja, who already knew that Chun-ae and Momi were working together to deceive her. Apparently, Teddy had given an update on his investigation about Mask Girl, who came out of the same place as Momi, and he was convinced that Momi and Chun-ae were someone who knew each other. On the way, Momi tells Chun-ae that she is now pregnant with the child of Ju Oh-nam, who slept with her last time. Momi decided to raise her baby with pride and love. She doesn't care if her child will be ugly, because no matter how ugly she is, she will always call her child beautiful. She doesn't want to be a mother like her biological mother, who never called her beautiful, and it has been a deep trauma for her until now. Then, when Momi and Chun-ae arrived at a river, they were about to throw away the suitcase containing Choi Bu-young's body. But at that time, Kim Kyung-ja shouted at them and pointed a gun at them.
저 여자가 그 여자야.
내 아들도 이라고 잡아먹었냐?
Chun-ae tried to protect Momi by saying she was the real Mask Girl. Momi also tried to protect Chun-ae and said she was the real Momi. But Kim Kyung-ja doesn't care because she will kill the two women. Then a fight ensued, and Chun-ae had to receive a gunshot wound in the stomach. In a state of injury, Chun-ae hit Kim Kyung-ja, who tried to kill Momi at that time. At that time, Momi was sad to see Chun-ae finally unable to survive with her wounds worsening. Chun-ae finally died in Momi's arms. Then Momi drowned the car into the river after she put the suitcase of Choi Bu-young's body. The story begins by showing Momi, who chooses to hide and give birth to her baby. After the baby was born, Momi chose to leave the baby with her mother. She asked her mother to care for her daughter and promised to pick her up one day. At first, the mother refused, but she could not be so heartless to a little baby with no sin. After a year of hiding to give birth to her baby, Momi finally surrendered to the police. 2012, the court sentenced her to life imprisonment after Momi confessed to all her crimes. Short story. A few years later, Momi's child is getting older. Momi's child is named Kim Mimo, a name that is almost similar to her mother. Mimo seemed to inherit her mother's nature. She liked to dress up and always got scolding by her grandmother. However, when Mimo entered elementary school, some of Mimo's friends' mothers began to forbid their children to be friends with Mimo because Mimo was the daughter of Mask Girl. Little Mimo began to look for information about Mask Girl. At that time, Mimo was still innocent and did not know what her mother had done. Little Mimo imitated the funny things she saw on the internet about her mother.
정말 많이 오셨네요. 여러분, 제가 바로
And it scared her grandmother so much that she punished the young Mimo. One day, when Mimo was teased by her friend, she hit her friend to stop insulting her. But this actually made Mimo forced to be expelled from school. Mimo could only cry when saying goodbye to the grandmother selling tteokbokki in front of her school, who had always been kind to her. Long story short, after changing schools several times, Mimo finally entered a new junior high school where no one knew her. And Mimo seemed comfortable as a quiet and loner in the school. A student named Ye Chun is a student who was also ostracized at the school, and eventually, she became a good friend of Mimo. Although initially indifferent to each other, Ye Chun finally felt that Mimo was her best friend. Ye Chun considers Mimo as her savior when she gets bullied by her classmates.
죽여버린다.
Ye Chun was forced to lie about her disharmonious family so that Mimo would always be there for her. One day, Mimo told Ye Chun for the first time about her mother, who was a prisoner. Sharing their sadness brought the two of them closer together. Ye-chun even wanted to help Mimo by collecting money from selling the things she had at home. Mimo told her about Topoki's grandmother, who always helped and loved her, and she had the idea to borrow some money from her. Then the next day, when Ye-chun sold a collection of idol photos to elementary school students, her classmates bullied her again. At that time, Ye-chun almost threatened her friends by telling them about who Mimo's mother really was to make them afraid of her, but she chose not to tell them. In a different place, Mimo herself was caught stealing a laptop at a cafe.
저기 학생,
Mimo's grandmother was very angry and embarrassed by her granddaughter's actions. Mimo, who felt hated by her grandmother for a long time, finally chose to leave home. That night, Mimo intended to sleep at Ye-chun's house, but Ye-chun forbade Mimo to go to her house. Ye-chun lied by saying that her father was angry at the time, and finally, Mimo chose to sleep at school that night. The next day at school, Mimo's friends suddenly bullied her after discovering that Mimo was Mask Girl's daughter. That day, Mimo chose not to go home or go to school. Ye-chun was very worried and tried to find her. Until then, Mimo secretly saw Ye-chun as very harmonious with her family. She was convinced that all this time, Ye-chun had lied to her. Mimo, who was very upset, accused Ye-chun of being a traitor who spread her secret to other students. But Ye-chun denied it because she never told her friends about Mimo. Mimo, who felt upset, did not believe Ye-chun's argument, and she began to be rude to Ye-chun. And from a distance, Grandma Topoki was very happy to see the fight between Mimo and Ye-chun. The story then flashes back to 2012, when Momi's prison term began. Momi made a friend of a prisoner who was kind to her, even though she knew what Momi's crime was. Momi suddenly became the center of attention of other prisoners because she gave plastic surgery advice to female prisoners who wanted to be beautiful like her. However, Momi's existence is considered a nuisance by a prisoner who is the ruler there. Just because Momi's beautiful face is considered similar to a woman who cheated on her husband, Momi was often bullied by them, but she didn't give up and chose to fight them all. Momi beat them all up. I don't know how often she was put in solitary confinement, but every time she was released, she always took revenge on the ruling gang. Finally, the gang leader, Yoon Suk, chose to make peace so Momi would not beat her men again. Long story short, after 11 years, Momi has served her sentence in prison. The quiet and peaceful prison life was suddenly disturbed when Momi received a mysterious letter from someone. Momi was very worried because the letter's contents threatened to avenge Momi's crimes by hurting her daughter. Momi finally decided to break out of prison to protect her daughter.
여기서 나가야겠어.
One day, Momi prepared an escape plan by making a long rope from the cloth she sewed every day. Momi's roommate also helped her distract the guards so that Momi could quietly leave without being noticed. But unfortunately, Momi's escape plan failed miserably because the rope she used to climb the wall suddenly tore. And Momi had to be caught by the guards. Knowing that Momi was trying to escape, the religious head warden ordered Momi to be isolated for a month to brighten up, and she gave Momi a Bible so that she would repent and realize her mistakes. Then, after serving more than a month in solitary confinement accompanied by the Bible, Momi's behavior suddenly changed. Momi became a very religious person.
주님이 나한테 직접 말씀하셨고.
One day, Momi was moved to help become a kidney donor for Princess Yoon Suk. This made Yoon Suk very grateful to Momi, and she promised to always take care of and grant whatever Momi's request. Then, one day in prison, a self-development training was being held. They accept volunteers from outside to help the prisoners, and it turned out that one of the volunteers was Kim Kyung-ja. Momi did not recognize Kim Kyung-ja's face because Kim Kyung-ja had done plastic surgery to avenge Momi. She said that when Momi tried to drown her, she survived the incident. Kim Kyung-ja then had plastic surgery to take revenge on Mimo. After getting a new face and knowing that Momi was already in prison, she devised a plan to approach Princess Momi, who lived with her grandmother. She approached little Mimo and was very kind to her.
Yeah.
Mimo even considered her as her own grandmother, but behind it all, she was the one who secretly told Mimo's friends' mothers about Mask Girl. She deliberately made Mimo a child who was always ostracized by her friends. When Mimo gets a new school, she again tells Mimo's friends, so that they bully Mimo again. Hearing all of Kim Kyung-ja's stories made Momi very emotional. She tried to talk to Kim Kyung-ja, But Kim Kyung-ja pretended to be attacked by Momi. Finally, Momi had to get more punishment in solitary confinement. Kim Kyung-ja left the prison with a sense of satisfaction, like she successfully avenged her revenge. A few days later, Kim Kyung-ja apparently cares for Mimo, like her granddaughter, in a mountainous area. Mimo is very happy living there with Kim Kyung-ja, who she already considers like her own grandmother. Mimo even chose to say goodbye to her biological grandmother, and then chose to turn off her cell phone. This made Mimo's grandmother worried, and she reported Mimo's departure to the police. On the other hand, Yoon-suk himself has only pretended to help Momi because she only needs Momi as a kidney donor for her daughter. She even made a fake photo of Mimo and gave it to Momi so she wouldn't worry about her daughter. Momi, who was very worried about her daughter, then asked Yoon-suk to help her get information about her daughter and mother. Yoon-suk then managed to get Momi's mother's number. She tried to contact her, but unfortunately Momi's mother did not want to tell Momi anything about her daughter. On the other hand, Kim Kyung-ja has started preparing to take her revenge by hurting Mimo. But that night, she melted a little because Mimo secretly gave her a surprise birthday surprise. Meanwhile, in a different place, Momi was very nervous. As a mother, she certainly felt that her daughter was in danger that night. The next day, Momi was taken to the hospital for kidney donor surgery. She didn't waste the opportunity to escape. When the police began to let their guard down, Momi desperately jumped from the second-floor window to escape and immediately look for her daughter. She took the car of one of the patients helping her in front of the hospital. In a different place, Kim Kyung-ja gave sleeping pills to Mimo's food, and without any suspicion, Mimo ate it. Meanwhile, Momi's mother became suspicious of Tteokbokki's grandmother, whom Mimo once talked about. She then began to find out about the Tteokbokki grandmother's address. After getting the address, she rushed away. At that time, Ye-chun came because she was worried about Momi, and she already knew that Tteokbokki's grandmother told her friends the rumors about Mimo and Mask Girl. On her way to Kim Kyung-ja's address, Momi's mother got a call from Momi. She immediately told her about Kim Kyung-ja, who wanted revenge on her. Momi's mother then gave Kim Kyung-ja's address to Momi, and they rushed there. Momi's mother was forced to drop Ye-chun in the middle of the road because she was worried about Ye-chun's safety, but Ye-chun ventured to keep looking for Mimo with some money she had. Meanwhile, the car driven by Momi suddenly broke down because the gasoline ran out. Momi also tried to find a ride from people passing by on the road. Until then, a woman gave her a ride because she felt sorry for Momi. But on the way, a radio broadcast suddenly discussed the escape of a prisoner known as Mask Girl. The driver started to get scared, and finally, Momi chose to get off, and she continued her journey on foot. Meanwhile, Kim Kyung-ja, who was tying Mimo. Not long after, Mimo woke up and asked to be released immediately. The grandmother couldn't heart Mimo. She even covered Mimo, who felt cold then. Then, the grandmother began to be confused at the sound of the house bell ringing. Apparently, it was the police who were looking for a junior high school girl who was allegedly being held captive based on someone's report. After searching several corners of the house, he found nothing suspicious. Meanwhile, Kim Kyung-ja began to continue her revenge plan. She tried to kill Mimo by burning mosquito repellent, so Momi died of poisoning. But that time, Mimo's grandmother finally arrived on time and tried to save Mimo. She fought back against Kim Kyung-ja. At the same time, Ye-chun finally came to save Mimo. In the underground, Ye-chun apologized to Mimo and then released her. Meanwhile, upstairs, Mimo's grandmother had to get many stab wounds to protect Mimo. Until then, Momi came and hit Kim Kyung-ja from behind. Mimo's grandmother told Momi to immediately help Mimo downstairs. Momi then went into the tunnel to bring Mimo and Ye-chun out. However, Kim Kyung-ja, who had realized from fainting, immediately came and pointed a rifle at them. Momi tried to grab the gun and asked her daughter to run away. Mimo was very sad and felt guilty seeing her grandmother's condition, who was seriously injured and eventually died. On the other hand, Momi and Kim Kyung-ja's fight in the tunnel ended with Kim Kyung-ja fainting again. Momi then went to take Mimo and Ye-chun out. But at that time, several policemen surrounded the place and asked Momi to surrender. Then suddenly, Kim Kyung-ja reappeared with a gun and aimed it to kill Momi. But then, the police chose to open fire and kill Kim Kyung-ja after Kim Kyung-ja shot Momi in the back. And finally, Kim Kyung-ja died instantly. Not long after, Momi also died in Mimo's arms because the gunshot wound was very severe. The story ends with the life of Mimo, who now lives alone, and finally, Yechun's parents decided to become guardians for Mimo. Meanwhile, Mimo began to live her life quietly, and occasionally, when she misses her mother, she plays a video of her mother's childhood. Mimo is very proud of her mother, who is very confident and has extraordinary talent even though she is not beautiful. And the movie is over. See you in the next movie. Don't forget to click subscribe, like, and comment.